Hey guys, I spent this week making a video game completely from scratch, complete with programming, art, special effects, and audio. It was super fun learning new things and getting better at game development. There were failures and roadblocks along the way, but all in all, I had a good time and learned a lot to share with you guys. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Every subscription helps me on my game making journey. If you want to see more content, please consider it. Day 1. Before making my game, I planned my game out on paper, brainstorming the rules, point values, and designs. You need some kind of plan before you dive right in. After planning, I was ready to begin and started off by making a moving block. Pretty cool, huh? But it gets better. Next up was bullets, except I forgot to make them move. Okay, that's better, except you can shoot so fast you can't move. So I scripted a timer so that the shots won't come out as fast. Much better. I started trying to work on a moving camera, except it had the same rotation as the player, resulting in some pretty whack results. I had to script the camera to reset its rotation every frame, so now it works like it's supposed to. Time for enemies. I made a test enemy, but it doesn't die, it just kind of floats around after getting shot. So now the enemy has 1 health and disappears after getting shot. I began scripting the point system. I wanted it so that shooting would take 1 energy, and hitting enemies would both give you energy back and give you points. I set up the UI and continued scripting it. Man, that looks so good, except it's broken. So back to scripting. Turns out you can't script things after they die. Pretty weird, huh? And look at that, it's a beautiful game. Next up, I added some default colors to make the game less sad and made it quit when you run out of energy. Enemy 1 started out his life as a simple red cube. Little did we know he'd become a massive headache to code. He's supposed to be chasing me, but he's a little lifeless and broken. After a few hours of learning how to use parent and child classes, he started working. Next up, enemy 2. He has 4 lives instead of 1 and... that's a glitch. And there we have it. He spins, shoots bullets, and has the right amount of health. Day 2. Enemy 3 is supposed to be a mix of the 2 enemies, chasing and shooting. Except I couldn't just copy and paste the shooting code from enemy 2. He's only supposed to be shooting 1 at a time. My bad. So after realizing I couldn't be lazy, I got him working too. Except these bullets go on forever. We need walls or something. I made some walls to prevent any of the game objects from escaping, and it worked perfectly. I spent the next little while scripting an enemy spawner. Then I made a bunch of starting asteroids to give the player something to do when starting off. Here's the first finished game test. A little ugly and glitchy, but we love it anyway. Day 3. I began making 3D art assets for the game so my player and enemies wouldn't just be spinning cubes. After giving the player a sick paint job, I exported it into Unity and oh my heck, that is awful. Something must have gone wrong. Here we go, all fixed up. After using GIMP to make an emission texture for the blue parts to glow, I put it all into Unity and now it looks pretty good. I don't remember why, but I decided I didn't like the little gun things up front, so I removed them. Next up, I modeled an asteroid thing and began to color it. I decided against making it look like a fat chocolate chip cookie. To make it bumpy, I used GIMP and an application called NJob to make a normal map for the materials. Time to replace the asteroids. Look at those flying space potatoes, they look so good. I decided to randomize them a little bit, maybe not that much. I also discovered that putting the normal map on the player looked absolutely sick. I made the rest of the models in the same way, replacing the placeholder boxes, and it turned out looking a lot better than I thought it would. Also, I took a free picture from NASA to get the background. Earlier I had it spinning, but it almost made me throw up, so I decided against it. I changed the walls to not use enemy 2's texture and gave them a red, stripy, transparent texture that moves. Day 4. Before making explosions, we have to ensure that everything is properly organized first. I messed around with Unity's particle editor system to make some explosions. Everything is so much better with explosions, remember that kids. I then made a bunch of different explosions for different colors of enemies, and proceeded to do the same for bullets too. I made a trail thing for the player which I ended up scrapping later because it didn't match the explosions. Camera shaking. It makes the game more interactive and explosions 10 times better. I used BFXR to make some free lo-fi sounds for my game. Gotta love the retro feel. Explosion sounds and happy ding sounds make explosions even better. I don't know how, but it does. I used the good old Nor'Wester font to spice up the UI a little bit. Day 5. I put in a soundtrack I wrote today and the game suddenly feels a heck of a lot more intense to play. I love video game music. Today was debugging and balancing day, kind of boring so I won't show you too much of it. I added the retry button so the game doesn't kick you out every time you lose. All I had left was give it a sick main menu and I'm good to go. So there you have it, that's the game I made this week. Not only that, but I published it too on itch.io, and you can play it for yourself using the link in the description below. So what did I learn from this experience? Well, number 1, even for a small game like this, it took almost half of my time to polish the game and make it ready for publishing. I could have polished it even further. If you're thinking of making a game, make sure to set out a lot of time for the polishing, debugging, and rebalancing. Number 2, play to your strengths. My programming skills aren't exactly the greatest, I'm not a game design genius, and I'm a really inexperienced game developer in general. However, I used my musical strength to make this game the best I could. More on that in a future video. Number 3, have fun and don't be afraid to try something new. If you're not having fun making your game, maybe something needs to be changed. You are the game. Sometimes it's just the special effects that suddenly make your game all come together. And trying new things is always great. Number 4, this is super important. Start small if you want to actually finish anything. This is one of the very few projects I've actually finished because I've had such lofty goals. Start small and level your way up. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, advice for me, or need advice, comment below and I will try to get back to you. And remember, life's a game. Have fun with it.